So, for example, on the issue of fiscal responsibility, let us frameworks, which I frankly prefer to call fiscal resilience. And let me just say, in pursuing this dialogue and encouraging reform, words matter. And so I have moved away from using the terms fiscal rules and even fiscal responsibility because it appears to offend some and it gets in the way of having a very focused and a progressive and a constructive dialogue about how we go forward to protect our economies and to give us the best chance to succeed long term in terms of inclusive growth. So I just make that observation in passing. We may want to look at how we frame these issues because we want to make sure that people understand the benefit. I find sometimes when we talk fiscal discipline, people begin to think this is about the IMF, this is about somebody else outside of our country, and the discipline for whom and for what. If we frame it in terms of the benefit, the protection for the people, the understanding that fiscal resilience framework allows us to pursue countercyclical fiscal policy when there are shocks. We protect the population and therefore minimize the hardships that we will go through when there are downturns. We help to give the government the wherewithal to be able to respond quickly and more effectively when a shock arises, whether it's a natural disaster or economic shock. Those things may help to take the conversation forward and avoid the sort of defensive posture that we sometimes see from some governments who are concerned that it is somehow they're being construed as being irresponsible in some way. Now, I'm not suggesting that past fiscal policies not have been appropriate. In some cases, they were not. In other cases, there were genuine reasons for the debt buildup, including shocks, loss of preferential access to Europe in terms of bananas and sugar, and of course, concessional finance. We're at averaging around 70% now in terms of debt to GDP ratio. Our target is to get to 60% by 2030. Some of our countries are already under 70, some are closer to 80. So we've asked everybody to establish interim targets so that to guide us 2020, 2025, so that by the time we get to 2030, we are able to achieve, hopefully well before that in some cases as well. Of course, no one knows the future, and that's why we have to prepare because, the shocks will come, and we have to be prepared to weather those storms starting with. I just see fiscal responsibility legislation, fiscal resilience frameworks as a way of giving us a chance, at least. As I put it this way, if you are at the wicket, you can make runs. If you're not at the wicket, you cannot make runs. Giving our economies a chance, our countries a chance to actually achieve and sustain higher levels of inclusive growth.